Hi, my name is Ron Layman. I'm from the Faux School in Frederick, Maryland, where I teach decorative painting workshops and complete commission projects for clients all around the world. If you're interested in signing up for a workshop or commissioning me, you can find links in the description area below this video, and you just click on those and it'll show you what you're looking for. Today I'm going to show you a technique using Bernini's Marmorino and Savon Masse soap sealer to create a technique that I call Creme Brulee. Let's get our tools, let's get our materials, and let's get started. So the first thing I've done to get ready for today's technique is I base coated the surface using a Decor Fondo. Decor Fondo is the proprietary base coat that is used for all of the Bernini line plasters. Decor Fondo is a base coat for all of the Bernini line plasters, interior and exterior. Soap and water cleanup. If you want to tint it with pigment, you would use pigment. Never use anything other than pigment, just pigment, okay? Now, I rolled on two coats of the Decor Fondo using a 3/8 inch nap roller. Sorry, spaced out there for a second. So I just rolled it on and let it dry. Nothing fancy. Tool-wise today, we're going to be using our Pavon. This is the 824 finishing trowel and spatula. The product we're going to be using is Bernini's Marmorino. This is the ready mixed, comes in a wet form. And it's a tint base, and you tint it using pigments, never paint. It has to be oxide pigments. Anything else, the lime in this product will attack it and causes pigments, those synthetic pigments, to fade prematurely. Paint just won't work. Paint will destroy the product. You just wasted a bunch of money. Okay, so what I'm going to use now is our color number 001, because this is our soft white. All right, color number 001. And I'm going to take my trowel and get a little bit of product on here. For the first one, we don't have to do a whole lot. This is going to be a bed coat. So what we want to do is give us something to get started. So we're not doing a particular technique. We just want it on 100% coverage, nice and even, no ridges, no trowel marks. Gather it up where you can get it and control it. Get a little more. And that's our first part of the process. It's a bed coat. So this is our foundation. Put that back in there before it gets on everything or it dries out. So the bed coat is simply that. It's a bed. It's our foundation. It's going to dry 100%. And we're going to come back and this will help us create our decorative finish much easier, meaning it'll stick better. If we tried to do the decorative finish at this point over the Decor Fondo, it makes you work a lot harder. So we don't need that. All right, I'll see you in just a little bit. Real quick, while we're in the drying down phase, if you can see right through here, okay, this is the wet material, and here's the dry part of it. It has like a yellowish amber tint to it as it dries, when it's wet, and when it's dry, it's a nice off-white. Let's continue to dry, and we'll come back to it in a minute. Okay, so the first coat is dried. We're ready to move on. The next part of the process, we're going to take our Pavon finishing trowel. I already have my Marmorino on the trowel, and we're going to just put on a nice coat. I can't do it from that angle. 100% coverage. I'm doing a big wall, and I'll show you something at the end of the video. I just did a whole room. So I want to put on fairly thick, not fairly thick. I want a nice even coat, probably about 1/8 of an inch across the surface. I'll work in 4x4 areas. Actually, some bigger, really. and I'll show you why here in a little bit. There we go. So we got our coverage. I could do a whole wall. And how am I going to keep the plaster from setting up and getting ahead of me or drying, and so I don't run into any problems? Distilled water in a pail, distilled water in a garden sprayer. Just mist it every so often, and what that's going to do is keep it hydrated, prevents it from drying. Step 2. Now we're taking the Marmorino. This has already been pre-colored as well. This is color 024. And we're going to take a little bit on our trowel, spread it around a little bit. I'll show you just a second. See how it's on there? Now what I'm going to do is come in, tap the surface, and some of it releases onto the plaster. Now this is up to you. Meaning, how much do you want? You'll see in a minute. This is one of those that we... Oh. Now, clean my trowel. Take off the excess. And a very soft pressure, very soft, very light touch. I'm going to float them together in various directions. All right. I know what you're thinking. That color doesn't work. Remember, Bernini line plasters, the colors dry lighter. They dry lighter. So don't get too concerned. That's why, 1, you always make a sample, or 2, you go to the comment section below this video and you can purchase the recipe card to get this exact color formulation and each step of the process. All right. And what we're going to do is we just want it to be a beautiful, soft colors that are melting together. Like that beautiful old wall. Okay, I'm going to take the excess off of here. Now here's what I'm looking for. Trowel mark, nada. You can, it's up to you. This I'm not crazy about. I don't know what that was, but look, it's gone. So we're just going to come through. It's just a heavy concentration of color, but that just adds to it. That's just me putting it on. So I'm just going to work it out. Now what's happening is I'm creating a slurry. See that material coming off? It's all a new color. So I can just apply it over what I have in various areas and start creating different intensities of color to get that nice, soft, just beautiful movement. This is a very relaxing finish. You go there. Now if I want, I can come back with my white first color. And sandwich this in between a little bit. And again, I can do the same thing. So it's a little heavy here. Tap it, tap it, tap it. Can't remember the cartoon that used to be from. See, so we're going to get some, now we're going to get some real fun depth going. So this one is really, you have to take your time and practice and practice. Because if you don't, and just jump on a wall without making a big sample, you could have a problem. It could be real busy. Might not have any movements at all to it. That's very possible. Over blending, because remember, what we see is not what we're going to get. This dries lighter. So don't panic. It's not, especially when you're putting the wall on or working on someone's wall and they walk in and they're like, oh my gosh, what did you do? What did you work doing? Yeah, that's it. Super simple. All I'm doing now is just getting rid of any heavy trowel marks. Don't need them, don't want them. I don't like to hard trowel this or pull it tight, burnish, compress. We don't need to do that here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna let it set for just a minute and firm up. What am I doing here? I don't even know. Meaning it's gonna be just firm enough so that when we go into it, we can knock it down and get rid of any movement with the trowel and just leave the movement of the material. Or we can leave it alone. Dozens and dozens and dozens of ways to finish this. Everybody's going to come out differently. When I do this in the workshop, we have a lot. When you look at everybody's board, they're all different because we all see things completely differently. All right. Let's let it dry for a little bit and come back and I'll show you a little trick. So now the plaster is getting firm. What I don't want to do is compress it. I don't want this to have a hard finish, meaning a hard troweled finish or super smooth. I want some movement to it. Something a little soft, undulating move. So what I'm going to do is grab this little thing and just missed it. I'm also going to miss this guy. I'm just going to lightly come across. And that does just enough to erase my trowel marks. Ever so slightly. I don't want to use the big heavy rubber ones. They still put too much pressure on it. I just want a soft float. This does perfect. All right, there's no fancy name for this, but you can find it in the description below if you want to get one. Now, let this dry 100%. We're going to come back and then we're going to finish it. See you in a bit. Okay, so we're dry. I've replaced the tape. Now, I pull my tape when the plaster is in a damp state, not when it's wet, when it's damp. That way, it comes off easier. When the plaster's dry, it's hard to get that tape off of there. The plaster will overlap the tape. It's just tough. Pulling it off when the plaster's in a damp state makes things a lot easier and a lot cleaner. There's no crumblies all over the floor. So this is it. That's the finish. Interior, exterior. I call it creme brulee. It just reminds me of one of my favorite desserts. And now the problem is it could stain. We don't want that. But I don't want it to be shiny. So the sealer I'm going to use is simply going to be Savon Masse. I like Savon Masse on Marmorino. It gives it a beautiful, soft luster. It just has this warm, relaxing glow if you polish it. And that's completely up to you. So we're just going to take our trowel, spatula, and Savon Masse is an interior-exterior sealer. So the second coat of Savon Masse has been applied. It is dry. I'm just going to take a soft, clean, lint-free, color-free rag because I don't want any lint to get stuck in anything. I don't want any color that could possibly pull off from my rag into the surface. So just a clean, natural rag. Just give it a light buff. Very soft. Okay. What we're doing, we're polishing it slightly, but we're also closing up the soap, the Savon Masse. Meaning, if we don't buff it out just a little bit under a microscope, it would be porous if you looked at it. So it's gonna be rough. So particulates could get inside of it. Just giving it a little once over, closes it up, makes it smooth. So we have a surface now that's, oh yes, wait till you see this. Smooth to the touch. And after a couple of days, you can touch it. I wouldn't really suggest it. I mean, we have oils and dirts on our hands and it'll get in here. And the more we touch it, the more it'll discolor this Savon Masse because it's doing its job to protect the Marmorino. So take a peek at that. Look how pretty and soft. And we bring it around. No movement. No texture. I'm sorry. No texture, no reflection. But we have a beautiful, soft finish. I love this one. I love Marmorino. I love Savon Masse. This finish is just soothing, relaxing. And let me show you what it looks like in a big room. Okay, there you have it. The technique known as creme brulee using Marmorino and Savon Masse. All the information on the colors, the products, the primers, and the tools is located in the description area below the video. You can click on the links and purchase all of those there, as well as the recipe card that will give you everything in great detail, written with step-by-step photos to make it easier for you to recreate. So, creme brulee, using Bernini's, Marmorino, and Savon Marseille. My name is Ron Layman. I'm from the Faux School in Frederick, Maryland, where I teach decorative painting workshops and complete commission projects for clients all around the world. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.